Okay, great. Well, we're going to get started. And Anthony, we probably will have some students that are going to join in, but I know everyone is busy and I just want to get right to the important reason that brings us all together today. So, just to give a really informal, I'll let Anthony talk about himself and his background. Anthony happens to be not only one of a big supporter of Elevate, even he actually is on our board. And besides doing all of this great stuff that he's doing as a board member, he has these absolutely wonderful skills that he utilizes in building not only his brand, his personal brand, and his own business's brand, but in the brand building the campaigns and businesses around him as clients. So he's perfect to be giving you guys all of these valuable tips and actionable advice because he puts it to work on a daily basis. And I will tell you, he will tell you to connect with him and just connect with him for watching with all that he does in that platform because it's pretty incredible. So, with not going into much more, Anthony, I'll let you give yourself an introduction to the group and then we'll get into mastering LinkedIn for success.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, Carolyn. Hello, everyone. So happy to have you here. As Carolyn mentioned, I'm in California. I'm actually born and raised in San Francisco. I've been here most of my life. Throughout my career, I spent about 10 years working for corporate relocation companies, so providing housing for people that were relocating. I was responsible for global sales and account development. And then I moved on from there and I worked for two business-to-business software tech companies, both that were venture backed. I was the head of sales and marketing at both of those organizations. Learned a ton throughout my tenure and all of that kind of history, and decided I wanted to go out on my own and build my own business. So partnered with one of the folks that I worked with at one of the startups, and we created an outsourcing agency called Izinga. So we provide on-demand talent for startups and small businesses here in the US, but we bring in talent from all over the world. So from Eastern Europe, Latin America, really allowing companies to have like even more diversity than what they could have, here in the US. And then I've like in the last 6 months recently moved into more of an advisor role with that business. And currently I'm spending most of my time advising startups in the AI space. So I'm helping early stage founders with their go-to-market strategies. That's like sales, partnerships, marketing, as well as their fundraising. So helping them really get connected to the investors within the community to help them raise capital. And a big part of the way we do that is through community. So we host a ton of events to help bring all these people together to network and to build strong relationships. And LinkedIn plays a part like all throughout this. So, like I think one thing I mentioned is that like when Juliana popped on the screen, I immediately recognized her, but her and I have never met. But I recognize her because she's been putting out content on LinkedIn, and especially because she's been putting out like video content. That's been really great. So like I think that was just a perfect kind of illustration of someone that's started to build their brand. And even though we've never met each other, like she's actually already someone that I recognize and has some type of authority. And I would look at her as someone that like has skills from like a marketing and social media perspective, even though we never had a conversation. So like that's how powerful it is to start thinking about your personal brand and building it out there. Today, we're focused on LinkedIn, which is by far a kind of business to business platform, but you have other ways to build your brand too, depending on what you're trying to accomplish, right? So you have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, there's a lot of different mediums, Pinterest, really that are based on like who are the communities and the people that you want to communicate to, what are the problems that you're solving and what's the best way to kind of like illustrate that to the audience, right? So like a tattoo artist, right? My like Instagram is probably maybe a better way for them to illustrate like all of the different work that they've done versus like a LinkedIn feed. But since we're talking to interns here, and I'm sure many of you are highly focused on your career, not only now, but what the future looks like, LinkedIn is probably going to be like the best place that you could possibly start building your brand within to be able to engage with your future employers, your future partners, or potentially even future clients if you are in a role where maybe you're selling or building partnerships in the future. So with that, and feel free to jump in at any time and ask any questions. This is like a pretty chill format, so I'm happy to be interrupted and would love your involvement. Could I just get the react button thumbs up for everyone that is currently on LinkedIn? And then I'll take your question, Brianna, or was that a thumbs up? Okay, great. Obviously, Juliana. Okay, awesome. And then, okay, so it looks like we got like almost everyone. I think I got a thumbs up from. I think it was everyone. So next question. Let's wait for the thumbs up to go away. So I can clearly see who. Okay. Who has their current internship program on their LinkedIn profile right now? Thumbs up. Okay, all right, Alexander and Brianna, your thumbs up is just staying there. Is your current role on your LinkedIn right now? Yes. Okay, amazing. If it isn't, get it on there. Like, there's a couple things that you want to have as muscle memory, and then I'll kind of back up and talk about LinkedIn in general, but these are just a couple things that are coming to mind. Obviously, if you are if you're volunteering, if you're in a new job, or you have some type of project, these are things like you immediately want to get onto your LinkedIn, so that way people can see the type of stuff that you're working on. Then the other thing that should really become muscle memory is that literally, like, whenever you connect with someone, I do it even if we're in an email together, right? Like, even if I didn't meet them, like whenever I cross paths with someone, and sometimes even if I haven't met them, but I'll send a note to kind of tell them why I'd like to connect with them. But definitely if we connect in any format, I'm going straight to LinkedIn and looking you up and requesting you. So that's just like a habit that I've built over time, which is a really good one to have. So I just popped my LinkedIn into the chat. So feel free to tap in and connect with me when you have a chance. So I'm going to pop up some slides just really quickly, just give a high level kind of on like brand benefits, how powerful LinkedIn is, like from a numbers perspective. And then I'll just jump into my actual LinkedIn profile so we can just kind of walk step by step on some best practices on really how to optimize your LinkedIn profile, as well as on some tips on how to create content, what type of things you might want to push out there in the world, and some tools like ChatGPT that can help you do that a lot quicker and not have to start from scratch. So these are some of the things that I just mentioned. Like the LinkedIn is an incredible way for you to connect with the community, to build a network, and really establish yourself as authentic and potentially a thought leader in your given space. What you're working on, what you're passionate about, those are the things that you can start sharing. You can provide tips about, you can share with the community the things that you're doing within that space, and people start to put two and two together, right? Like, so if they see you talking about nonprofit work all the time, right? Then they know that that's probably something that you're passionate about, that you might be involved in that. And they will come to you for those type of resources. One thing I definitely would say that is important is to not wait to build your network and your brand until you actually need it, which is something that I'm seeing a lot right now, given the state of the workforce, right, with the layoffs and the economy. And there's tons of people unfortunately have been laid off from their jobs, and so I'm seeing a lot of people that are just starting now because they just got laid off and they know that they need a new job, and so they're just starting to do their first post, or they're just starting to reconnect with people that are in their network, but they could have been doing that for maybe the past 5 years. So I think it's really important that it's something that you're consistently doing. It doesn't mean that you need to post every day or even every week, but maybe try to think about what would be a reasonable goal for you based on what you're trying to accomplish. And then other things that are important when you're using LinkedIn is like you might have a lot of things that you're passionate about in life, as we all do. But one thing that I find on LinkedIn is trying to hone in on maybe one, two, three of those things and being consistent in the messaging that you're putting out there. So that way people, like I said, they start connecting you and whatever that thought leadership is, whatever that type of, segment of business is. They look to you as the authority. And then you want to find people that are within those same spaces as well, right? So you want to look to see who are the other people within this particular area of business, or who are the talent acquisition people out there that talk about the best ways to find a new job, whatever you're passionate about, whatever is important to you at that time. Try to start engaging with those people, following them, commenting, liking, if you can add any value, especially. Try to do those things as much as possible and ask questions. I think that sometimes it's okay. People are scared to ask questions sometimes. I think LinkedIn is like, it's not typically a place where I've ever seen like trolling or people, bad mouthing other people in the comments. It's like pretty friendly, very professional environment. So it's a safe place, I would say. And so this is just kind of to give you an idea of how massive LinkedIn is, with over 1 billion members in 200 countries. So, I mean, the scope of it is wild. It's everywhere in the world, with over 200 million users here in the US alone. So as it relates to finding your next job, your career, these are some of the like very specific stats that really show you how important LinkedIn is and the type of value that that it can add to you building your own personal network. I mean, 8 people hired every minute, like 8 people every single minute, with 44% of the hiring managers looking at the skills that you list on your LinkedIn to find you, right? So a lot of times these companies, they have a recruiting premium package for their LinkedIn, and they're able to really put in very specific keywords and different things that they're looking for, enable for it to basically bring up these profiles that might be interesting candidates for them. So really important to have the profile optimized so you can build awareness for you, especially in front of those that you might be trying to get a job from. Any questions? Okay, cool. Okay, let's actually just jump into LinkedIn for some profile optimization tips. Mine is not perfect by any means, but hopefully there's some things I can show you within the profile that will motivate you or give you some new ideas, or just give you some kind of practical guidelines on how you might be able to elevate yours, and not saying that yours isn't elevated already. Okay. So very common. I find this. So this is your banner here. Can everyone see my LinkedIn, Silicon Valley? Okay. This banner right here is like, it's a billboard. It's a huge piece of real estate. And oftentimes it's just blank, right? And so that's like an easy win right there, because it's so easy to do, is jumping in there and hitting this edit button. There are some templates that LinkedIn provides. They're cute, but they don't really offer anything, right? So like what I mentioned to you all, that I'm working with early stage startups right now. And so like a lot of the startups they're coming internationally, like they're coming from Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and they're trying to get into Silicon Valley. And so we're trying to position Silicon Valley as like the product, like we can help you in Silicon Valley, right? So that's kind of why I have that Silicon Valley. But then there's 3 things that's kind of like, we do advisory, we fundraise, and we build community. And so I want people to see that right when they come there, versus seeing like a cool image. That, me personally, and I'm trying to sell the services that I'm providing. You might be trying to sell what you're good at, right? A very easy and free way to do this is Canva, where you can just literally pop in LinkedIn banner and you can create one. You know what I mean? Like I created this for this guy as a favor that is like a chauffeur, a limousine driver. He had a blank one. And so this is the company Brooks, drive the difference where lifestyle meets the road. Like made him a little slogan, you know what I mean? So when they go there, they're like, ooh, this is, you know, and it's black and white, kind of clean, like, you know, luxury VIP. So thinking about who the audience is. But this is like pretty easy to plug and play and go in here. I mean, Canva's amazing. It's like super intuitive. So that is the headline. And then let me pop that, or excuse me, that's the banner. Then next, profile picture. So, you know, have something that looks professional. That doesn't mean you have to go get professional headshots. If you have them, amazing. But most phones these days take really incredible pictures. I think it's just about having something that's clear, smiling, looking approachable, trying not to have like someone else in it that got cut off, you know, from like a wedding you went to. You know, try to have something that looks, you know, like I want to meet this person. They, like I said, approachable, friendly. Next is there's a little there you should see this profile URL, public profile URL. Typically, like so if you see up here, if I want to share this just like I did in the channel, it's kind of like easy to remember. So Scale with Tony is like that's my Instagram. You can follow me there as well. But that's kind of like I'm trying to help companies scale. So I have this like Scale with Tony. So I tend to try to use that as my username across like Instagram, X, LinkedIn. So that way people can just, okay, I'm looking for this person's different profiles. There's consistency there. It can also be your name or, you know, it can be anything. I think the main thing is you don't want it to look like this. Because that's how it looks a lot of the time. Can you see these like all the numbers and everything? Usually it comes that way with like extra weird numbers that you don't need. So just hit this edit pencil right here, and then it allows you to come over here and edit. You can change this basically. So you can change it to something that's maybe a little bit shorter, something more memorable that works for you and your brand. So cancel that. Okay, so we got the banner, profile picture, custom URL, and now let's jump over to the headline. So the headline, a very high percentage of times, is just it's just repeating what your job title is. That's what you see that a lot, right? Where it's just says your name and then it says like, you know, social media specialist or something like that at XYZ, or just literally a copy paste of the job title, which they're going to get when they scroll down here to your experience. They can see all of that already. So I think a good kind of formula for this headline here is what you do and who you do it for. And sometimes how, if you can fit that in there, right? So like what, who, and how. So I have on here go-to-market guru for visionary founders. That's like my what I do. I do go-to-market strategy and then for founders, right? For typically for startups. I didn't put how because I have a couple of other things because I wear a lot of different hats. And so I have community connector on here, and then I have an event producer because we have an event production company and we're also building community. And then last but not least, as I mentioned, I have this company Izinga that we're providing offshore talent for. So I kind of throw those in there. Most importantly is going to be this kind of first sentence right here, because whenever you post or comment, you know, that's what, when people see your comments on other people's posts, they're going to see like a snapshot of that. So every time they're seeing my face, my name, but they're also getting a little piece of that headline. So it's like easy for them to see like, okay, this guy does go to market for founders. Like it's just constantly in their head. Every time I'm posting, every time I'm commenting, they're seeing that little snippet. They typically can't see the whole thing, usually just like this first part right here. So think about what is the most important thing that you'd want to illustrate probably when you're doing that. All right. Okay. About section. This is, I use ChatGPT for this. So, and we'll go into that a little bit, but I think again, this is kind of, it's like double clicking on the headline basically, right? So I got like a quick hello, highlight some of the things that I specialize in, and then I break it down like what I do. So I talk about the different things that I'm doing within these organizations, my approach. So that is kind of how I said how, right? So who I do it for, what do I do? Who do I do it for? And then like, how do I do it? So this is like sales, marketing, partnerships. And then I threw in there why I do it, right? Like passionate about connecting people, something that's a little bit more personal, right? And not as salesy. But this is really important because if someone wants to take a deep dive into what you do, how you do it, who you do it for, then this is the perfect area to be able to convey that to them. There is also a skills section where this is where you can come up in people's searches or in recruit, with the recruiting platform. So you really want these top skills to be aligned with the type of work that you are doing or that you hope to do. So that way more of those opportunities come your way. If you're doing any freelance work or anything maybe outside of, your 9 to 5, your internship, you have another area where you can actually list some of these services and someone can request to talk to you to potentially hire you. So I'm going through all of these things. This featured section is great. I would say that it's like lower on the totem pole of priority. So I wouldn't worry about it, but it is a great place to showcase. And maybe you did a post right now, just to give you an idea. We have an event that's coming up next week, right? So I want everyone when they go to my profile to see this event because this is like one of my main priorities right now is I'm trying to promote this event that we're doing. So I changed my whole featured section to just be, it's basically you can just go here, this plus sign, and then it asks you what you want to put here. So you can put pictures, media, you can put an article, a link to something that goes somewhere else. You can really get creative. Like if you have maybe your own website portfolio and you want to share that here, or if you did a post that was went viral, and like the community really loved, you can keep that kind of living by having it front and center. But you can just put add a post as well. And then when you hit add a post, then it will walk you through recent posts and you can decide to feature that. So I did those two there. And then let's jump down now to the experience section. So let me use, like I said, mine is not perfect. So let me try to find one that looks pretty good. Okay. So head of sales at Velocity, right? So one thing is when you're looking for the place that to show that you're working at, sometimes there's like multiple profiles that have been built on LinkedIn. You want to find the one that's the actual company profile for that business, if there is one. And usually you can tell because there's going to be a logo. Sometimes you'll see other ones that are kind of grayed out. They don't have a logo or a picture, and those aren't typically the ones that you would want to choose when you're putting where you work. So what I like to do is put where the place that I work, and then put a little bit about what they actually do. So Velocity is B2C SaaS service model, blah, 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 destination services, high touch destination, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, just a little snippet. You could literally go to the website of the company, but if it's not like a big company, right? Like Toyota, Meta, Chase, whatever that people might not know, it might be good to put a little kind of blurb in there. So people don't actually have to click into the company here to go read about what it is. They can see that. And then most importantly, what are you responsible, or if you're not there anymore, what were you responsible for and what were some of the accomplishments that you've had? So that's what people want to see. They like and you want to be as metric driven in this as possible, right? And not everything is easy to put a number on it, but if you can figure out a way to say that you increase something by a certain percentage, or you helped, hire so many people, or you helped onboard, people, whatever, like if you can put some type of numbers there, it just makes it so much more authentic and adds a lot of validity to it. Instead of saying like, professionally onboarded new employees leading to high employee satisfaction. that just is, it doesn't really give, it's not, there's nothing tangible there, right? It sounds good, but it can just be like, some people might take it as fluff and it doesn't really hit as hard. So just try to think about, what are the things that you're doing? What have you accomplished? And is there a way that you can put some type of number on it? If not, don't sweat it. But sometimes you can get creative and figure out a way, or ask maybe someone else, like if you don't have those clear metrics, maybe you talk to a mentor or your manager, and you ask them, are there any numbers that they're looking at as it relates to the things that you're doing? And maybe you didn't even realize that they actually do have some things where they're measuring. And some of that could be useful to display within your LinkedIn. Questions? Okay. That was experience. Okay, so those are the main things for the profile optimization, right? So we had banner, profile picture, custom URL, headline, about section, job description, experience, etc. So those are probably like the heavy hitters.
Would
Yep.
it, sorry, raising my hand. I was looking for the hand raise. I can't find it. I don't know. I mean, and I don't want to interrupt because I know you're in the flow, but for an intern who doesn't have the depth of experience as a seasoned professional like you, Anthony, I was wondering if you guys, the interns, had some ideas on how you might populate some of those sections. Like what, so do you mind pulling your profile back up again, Anthony? Just to be provocative, if not to talk about it now, to think. So as a student who's now got some practical work experience, what you'd want to do, of course, is think about what those, so under Anthony's name, you've got the headline. What are some of the things that you might put there? I don't know, Carolyn, this is your forte. If you have thoughts or want to say something to add.
Yeah, I think as students, like for that headline, if, like aspiring content marketer, or, kind of just go beyond what you're doing as like from an academic side, like, rising senior at Drew University. I mean, what are your aspirations? So it's just as Anthony talks about following really good people on LinkedIn, as LinkedIn has so many great people that are posting for people like you, young students early in their career. And I recently shared somebody that talked about how you build that headline as a student, and I'm happy to reshare it all again with all of you as well. What problem can you solve, right? As I search through people, when I look at that headline, kind of aspiring student or aspiring digital content manager, Juliana, I'm thinking about our conversation, right, when we were talking about your headline. So I definitely say, incorporate what you see yourself doing or what you would like to be doing. And Anthony, I don't know if that's in alignment with how you would position this.
Yeah, 100%. People want to understand what problem you're solving, right? People have problems that they want to be solved, and if you can do it and make their life easier, that's just how much more attractive you come to those people.
Or even just the fact that you are now being able to offer your prior work experience, that's a big differentiator for people entering the workforce. You say, I don't know, it needs to be wordsmiths, but supported an organization, experienced office worker. I don't know, something. Carolyn, help me out. But that's kind of like it's how you can differentiate yourself.
Yeah.
It's what you want and what you do. And if you look at mine is not very good, but what I used to always have in the space was just my title and my current job. And that doesn't really tell anybody anything. So you really want to sort of figure out how you differentiate yourself in that one line.
Yeah, and I'm just showing some of the bigger content creators on LinkedIn. And you can see, I mean, they get very specific and try to keep it as simple as possible.
Nice.
Right? Teach you how to write with AI.
And look at that guy has 170,000 followers. That's incredible.
Yeah, he's a great person to follow. if you want like tips on content creation. Where's the chat? Just put that in there in case. I want to kind of show you how I might start looking for people within LinkedIn that I would like to follow or that I want to engage with based on the goals that I have. So can anyone maybe give me a company, like some company that they absolutely would love to work for after their internship program? Could even be the company that you're at right now. You can put it in the chat as well. Nobody?
Juliana,
No one has an
I'm gonna
idea?
April says Salesforce.
Okay, perfect. I love
Oh,
that.
good.
Okay, great. Salesforce. So let's get to work. I'll show you how I stalk these people. Okay, so let's just start with Salesforce in general, right? Salesforce, I'm probably already following them, which I am. So let's say I wasn't following them, right? First and foremost, follow the company page because now they are going to be within your feed. So you're going to have announcements they're making, what new offices, new products, like really what's going on within the organization, what's important to them, which is really great ammunition for you when you actually talk to them, right? That you already know all of these things that are going on. Like you're not just studying them like, the week before you get the interview. You have a really good understanding. Plus you can see, is this a place that you really want to work for? Do you believe like in their mission and vision and the values that they talk about? So that's first thing, follow the page. Then if you click on employees here, right here, do you see this? Right there, boom. I can click up here on the top, there's these filters. So I can click first degree connections. That's because do I actually know someone that works there, right? Like you might, as you start building your network, right? It can really get easy to not remember that you actually know someone from way back or maybe even someone closer that works there. So if I click first, I can see that I actually have 34 people that I know that work at Salesforce, which that's a lot of people. Salesforce used to be one of my clients and they're here in San Francisco. So that's, so I have friends that work there, ex-colleagues, clients, etc. Depending on what would you like to do at Salesforce? Who had said that? April, I think.
I was thinking about HR, like working in the HR department, maybe
Okay.
like.
Fantastic. So, and do you know anyone that works there right now by chance?
Yeah.
You do? Okay, great. Do they work in HR?
No, they work in sales.
Okay, cool. All right. So if you do have people that that work there, like the first thing is, as I'm looking through this, I'm looking to see who do I actually know really well, right? Like some of these people I may have met once. It's not someone I can reach out to for a favor, maybe, but others I've known for years, right? So I want to flag those people and maybe try to connect with them and let them know I'm interested in Salesforce. Maybe they're not in HR, but they're a friend and they can start kind of navigating, and maybe they have a referral program where they can actually refer you instead of you going to apply on your own. You just want to like maybe start opening a line of communication with them to tell them your intent and see if they're open to maybe having a coffee virtually, in person, etc. So that's what I would do. I'll start to look through who do I actually know. Second is, do I actually know anyone that works in HR at Salesforce would be the second thing. So I think you can just type in you can type Salesforce, and then see this all filters here? You can click this all filters, and then you have a bunch of different things. Like I had done first degree, second degree, but you can just scroll all the way down here to title, human resources. Okay, boom. Show results. Okay. Salesforce is a massive company. So there's like tons of people with human resources, but for the sake of this, I'll just keep it simple. Let's say Jasmine is someone that is like the right person in human resources. So I would go to Jasmine's profile. First of all, see if I have anyone that's a mutual connection, someone that might not even work at Salesforce, but maybe someone knows her. So again, another opportunity to open a line of communication with that person to see how well they know them. Is it someone that might be comfortable referring you? All of these things are so key when you're trying to stand out in front of like thousands and thousands of applications that come in for even one role with some of these companies. And a lot of times there's like a software program that's filtering through the applications and not even getting on the desk of a recruiter unless you can connect with someone there, right? And then that person can mention, hey, you should take a look at April. And then boom, all of a sudden your resume magically comes out of the pile and into someone's hand and you have a real opportunity. And LinkedIn is a way to help you navigate all of those things very easily by if you spend the time to do the research. So let's say that I don't have any mutual connections with Jasmine, but I can see that she's active on LinkedIn. She's a leader in HR at Salesforce. So I'm going to follow her, right? You could do a connection request and send a note and say like, I love the content that you've been sharing. Like Salesforce is a place I'd love to work, would love to connect with you here on LinkedIn. You can do that. That's up to you. That's like maybe a little more aggressive. That's something I might do, but you don't have to do that. It's up to you how far you want to take it. But we can simply do is just click follow. So you're not saying, hey, I know you, or I'm asking to connect. I simply want to follow you. So now you're going to come up in my feed when there are things that might be relevant to me. LinkedIn is watching you and all of us, knows who you talk to, what you post, maybe post that you read more, a video you play. And it's really trying to put more of that content in front of you based on that algorithm. And so if you follow Jasmine, you can just follow her and then she'll start coming up in your feed. If you feel really strongly about like wanting to be notified every time Jasmine posts, which I do for maybe a prospect that I'm currently in talks with, or maybe there's just people that I absolutely love the content that they put out, I'll click this bell over here in the corner. So now she's on most relevant, like what I talked about based on your activity and what LinkedIn thinks is important to you, but I can actually click all and save that. And then every time Jasmine posts, I'll get an alert here in my feed, basically. And what that does is it gives me the opportunity. So Jasmine's not very active. You can see she hasn't posted for 5 months, but let's just say she is active. And this activity feed is full of posts. And now I'm going to start getting alerts from her when she posts like maybe once a week. This is the perfect way to engage with these folks at the companies that you want to work for, or in the type of professions that you're seeking, or maybe would love to have mentorship in, whatever it is. This is like the community that you want to build, right? Within this HR space within tech. So you can simply start by liking, right? Or reacting to that person's comments, which is also going to make you more visible to them, right? They're going to see that you liked it potentially if they're looking at how many people liked their post. And then if you can comment, then comment. I would say when you comment, do your best to add some type of value, right? So let's say that this post was Jasmine talking about 3 ways to ensure employee satisfaction, within HR and benefits or something like that. And she shares 3 things. Maybe you have a 4th thing that you think is really valuable and important that could go with that list. And so that would be like the best post you could do. These are great, Jasmine. I also really like XYZ as a way to boost morale within the company. Like, you know what I mean? So now you've given something really thoughtful. You've provided value to Jasmine and the rest of the network that are actually looking at that post. That's like the best thing that you can do. Sometimes you might just say, love this, like people do that too, and that's okay. But I would try to like do that less, right? And try to really be more intentional on the comments that you're going to make. So that way you're just not going to every single post just saying, love this, thank you, great. Like really try to think about having a couple sentences in your reply. Okay, so just kind of recap there is thinking about the people that you want to build community with, that are in professions that you would like to be in, that you would like mentorship from, that you would like to work in, et cetera, et cetera. And then trying to find those people within LinkedIn, either connecting with them or following them, and then being cognizant of when they're posting and trying to engage with that. So that is, you know, this person's starting to see your little profile picture popping up. You know what I mean? Like here and there. And there's, you know, and especially if you're adding valuable content and engaging with them in a valuable way, people really appreciate that. And you probably have a good chance of maybe, you know, being able to send that person a message and get some back and forth if they remember that they've been seeing you over the course of the last weeks or however long. So I think your odds really are better than just going in cold of like, hey, I'm reaching out to you now. I want to work at Salesforce. Can you help me? Versus like, I've been following you. I've been giving back. And it makes it more of a two-way street. Questions, thoughts, feedback, anyone? Was that helpful?
Anthony, I have a question to ask for possibly for the group, but the skill section, the way I have been on it a long time, but I believe as you input the jobs or the roles you've been in, then a section pops up, what skills did you use at that role, right?
Yeah.
And is that's what's driving the skills that are listed on your LinkedIn profile. So can students, is there a way to add in additional skills? And, you know, because maybe you're doing something, but it's not related to that role, but you want that skill to be showcased, like if they're targeting their profile for a specific position. How does that work? Because I know that that's changed recently.
So things change quite frequently on here. So I'm not 100% sure that this hasn't changed, but I'm pretty sure that these skills here are where you can actually go in. Let's see. Here.
Skills, okay.
So basically, the skills are listed here in the about section. So if you edit this entire about section, you have the actual content that you provide, the copy. And then if you go below, then you have the skills that are here and you can change them. You can also, like, I don't think, for me, honestly, leadership is not like a skill that I'm trying to really convey to my community. I don't think it's like super valuable, right, to these startups that want to raise money and get their product to market. So I'd probably like put sales and marketing higher, you know what I mean? And maybe even do something better than leadership, right? So let's see if they actually have like go to market. They do, go to market strategy. So that's way better. Show us where you use this skill. Oh my God, everywhere. But I'll just keep it to those. Okay. So that's there, and I'm actually gonna grab that one and bring it all the way to the top. And grab this one and bring it here. Okay, save. I don't know that when you put them in a different order here, it doesn't change the way people are finding you, but I'm looking at when they actually go to my profile. Sure, save. Save. Okay, I don't know why it's not doing that. Anyway, I want this to show, right? Like if someone's just scrolling, right? So they're not having to click this little arrow to like see everything. I kind of want to have the most important ones first here. So yeah, so you can easily change that to what's most relevant. And in doing this, you can see how easy it is for your stuff to become out of date, right? Because there's a lot here. So you might want to have a monthly audit of your LinkedIn to say like, okay, let me go through this thing one by one and see if these are still relevant or if there's something better that I want to replace it with or some type of new content. Otherwise, things can they can sometimes get a little stale because there's a lot to manage here. Okay.
Thank you. That's really important too, for them to have the skills aligned, and that's what LinkedIn then generates. Your skills align with these jobs. So, you know, doing a little research too, as Anthony said, you know, looking up what are the relevant skills for the positions you're interested in.
Yep.
And trying to tie them back. So if someone's looking for that position, your profile kind of pops up into that mix. Thank you.
100%. All right, let's talk about posts now and actually putting out your own content. So I'm just going to my post right now so we can just look at like the anatomy of a post. Like not, again, there's so many ways to skin the cat, but we can look at this post and see that like it did fairly well. So it was posted yesterday. It's at 1,500 impressions, 44 engagements, and 17 comments, and really good actually is repost. So 10 people actually reposted this post, which means that they found value and wanted to share it with their network. So some of these metrics are like what they would call like maybe a vanity metric, you know, like so many people like this post, right? Could be a little bit more vanity because like, but how many people actually commented, how many people shared it? And then in sales, how many leads did you get, right? Or how many interviews did you get, right? If you're trying to get a job. So there's like different things that you want to look at that, yeah, it's great that a lot of people like it, but then there could be some more important things that you're seeing that if I do this type of post, I get more DMs from recruiters, right? Like that's way better than 100 people liked it, right? So it's really important to think of like what metrics are important for you. Okay, so this was a post about the event that's coming up. A few things here. So I like to have space. You want to have some type of spacing here that makes it a little bit easier to digest. Honestly, this post is a lot noisier than my usual post because this is a specific event where I've tagged sponsors, attendees, and partners and things like that. So it's kind of got a lot going on for like my personal preference, but it still did all right. So usually you have some type of like hook here on the top that immediately when people are scrolling, they can see like what's happening. I wouldn't necessarily, this is a hook that like draws people in, but I was just very specific that we wrapped up this site visit for an upcoming event, you know, so people might be like, oh, what's this event? It has like a catchy name, Silicon Swing. It's on the 9th. And then basically I talk a little bit about what it is. I try to limit the amount of emojis. Again, this is like a little bit more honestly than I typically would use. But you really want to refrain, I think, from just overusing emojis all over the place. And this is something that different AI tools will automatically do sometimes. And then it makes it look really like recognizable that that is a post that came straight from AI. So I think it's great to use AI, and that's okay. And I'll give you like a use case right in a few minutes where we can look at that. But I'll grab it from AI and then I'll tweak it and make, you know, sometimes significant changes so it doesn't look like it doesn't just scream like this is a ChatGPT post. When applicable, tag people to help extend your reach, right? I wouldn't just tag people for the sake of tagging people. Sometimes other people post and they just tag 50 people on the bottom every single time. Like that's what they do. We know somebody like that, right, Andrew? But and that's like I said, there's no right or wrong. This is just like me personally. I wouldn't want to just tag people like every post. This post, like literally I'm tagging the sponsors, I'm tagging the people that are actually part of this event with us, right? So those are like the companies as well as the partners and sponsors. So that's why I did that. And it really did help get reach because these people that I tagged felt like this post was absolutely relevant to them versus just getting a notification that I've been tagged in a post and now I read it and I don't, you know what I mean? I don't even know what it is. Like they knew that this is the event that we're doing next week. So other thing is, so I would say first video, then images, and then probably carousels are like what is most popular right now with LinkedIn. Also, like you'll see, like with Instagram, for instance, it's probably going to go reels, then video posts, you know, like, so there's kind of, you can see that the people engage with it more, the algorithm loves it. So I think part of the reason this post did well is I took some cool pictures of the venue. I didn't even walk this venue like yesterday, but I just had taken these pictures before and I was trying to think, how can I promote this event again without just doing like this post like I did originally, right? That's just like, here's the event, register now. I was like, okay, how can I change things up? So think about what you want to post about and then think about maybe different ways that you can do that. Here's a post about you all. I don't know if you guys are aware, but we are doing a fundraiser in September for Elevate Plus. So hopefully all of you and the companies that you're working for can join this. We'll be sharing more information about that. But instead of just saying, come join us September, we're like gonna do this run, we want to raise money, I try to flip the script a little bit. So this is a hook here. So, and I use ChatGPT to help me with this, but it still took a lot of time of like explaining how I wanted to do it. So disrupting systemic inequity is possible. So that is like nothing to do with come run with me and raise money, right? But it's catching people's eye, especially if that's something that's important to them. But it requires action. And then I go into like how you can make a difference and put the link in the comments if someone actually wants to learn more about this. All right, so that's just two different posts to give you an idea of some of the things that I think about when I'm posting. But let's, for the sake of time, and then we'll keep it open for questions, let's do something that could be relevant to you today that you actually might be able to use. So let's hop over to my buddy ChatGPT. So there is a free version of ChatGPT. There's also, I believe, Google Gemini is free, as well as Anthropic's tool, which is called Cloud. So those are probably the top, I would say ChatGPT and Cloud are definitely competing with each other a lot more. Then you have Gemini by Google, which is okay. And then you even have a Facebook one, Llama, right? That's an open source AI. But basically, these are large language models. So you can go in there, you can prompt it, you can ask it questions, you can upload documents and tell it to give you, you could upload like, 200-page PDF and tell it to give you a one page of highlights that I got from that PDF, right? There's tons of stuff that you can do with it. But for this specific use case, and I already threw the prompt in there. Okay, so I just said, I'm an intern. I'd like to create a post for LinkedIn that is about 3 ways to maximize a summer internship for career success. And then I gave a little bit more. Make it short form, so not too long, with spacing that allows easy readability. Boom. Let's see. I mean, so like instead of starting from a blank canvas, which sometimes leads to writer's block, I mean, this in a matter of a couple seconds, like we already have something to work with, right? So 3 ways. So network. Wow, how convenient for what we're talking about right now. So attend company events, meetups, connect with colleagues on LinkedIn. I'm already loving this. Build relationships with men. This is great, honestly. Seek feedback and learn. So regularly ask for feedback, take on new challenges, learn from mistakes, showcase your achievements. This is really in line with what we're talking about today. I promise I didn't do that intentionally, but keep a record of contributions and projects. This is something, again, like if you can put metrics and things around that, this can help for building out your LinkedIn. Update your resume in LinkedIn with your new skills and experience you've gained, and make the most of your internship program. So a couple things that I would immediately do here is I would take away these fire emojis probably. I'd get rid of the hashtags because most people these days are not using hashtags on LinkedIn. There's really, I don't think many people that I would go to LinkedIn and actually search for a hashtag the way they might do on Instagram. So it's just really not adding value. And honestly, this is a pretty good post. So you could do a couple things with this. You could make a video instead of just putting this in the copy, right? You could basically just put 1, network, 2, seek feedback and learn, showcase your achievements. And then you could use these bullets as talking points that you might not necessarily put that whole thing into the LinkedIn post because you're already going to have the video. So you just keep it kind of high level with the 1, 2, and 3. And then you have like some notes there, you memorize maybe a little bit, or you have a way that, they even have like apps now where you can read the script basically while you're still looking at the camera. You can make a video, or you could make a carousel, and you can easily do that within Canva. So let's see what we got. You could do like something like this. So you could create an actual carousel here where you would say 3 ways to get the most out of your summer internship program or something like that. You don't have to put your picture, like however you want to do it. But basically what you want to do is you can break it into different slides, right? Based on what was on there. So there's a ton of different mediums to use. We have 2 minutes left. So I know that was really jam-packed, a lot of information. Hopefully it was helpful. There is a recording, and I will also be around, hopefully as your new LinkedIn connection that you can hit up anytime to ask for any way I can help, network, whatever. Any questions?
So I will just say it was very dense, really, really rich content for sure. And we've recorded this, right, Carolyn? So we'll send this out and you can go back through and follow up on the tips. Carolyn, do you have any advice? I know you're really good.
There's so much information, and Anthony, there's so many good points that you made, and I will absolutely say to all of you, like, it should be a monthly check-in when you're back at school. In speaking with our intern, Juliana, at her school this morning, many of the schools have these phenomenal AI platforms now that you can use to pull out things like key skills and build your LinkedIn profile. So definitely check in with them. I would say LinkedIn is a great tool to do research into career fields to see what skills or what background people have from the organizations that you want to work on. I think April, you said HR in Salesforce. So you can go in and you can drill down and you can see what experiences or what other opportunity or what jobs those people that are now in those roles have, and what do they talk about doing. So it's a great place to kind of go under the covers and do a lot of research as well. And before you start maybe like posting and putting things up there, it's okay to look around and see what everybody else is doing. I mean, in our blog development, we've looked at other blogs that are being written and seen how are they posting, what are they doing, as a way to educate ourselves as the best way to be out there. So use it as a tool not only for personal branding and building all these great things that Anthony's talking about. It makes me realize how bad mine is, but and it's on my list to go back and redo it, as Andrew said, to kind of check in. But I would definitely use it as a place too to do some research. And have you connected with all of the people that you've worked with this summer? Do a video or something. You're going to see Juliana's done on your accomplishments, or if you're not comfortable with videoing, write a post, right? All you got out of this summer, and maybe thank your supervisor if you're in the position that you want to do that, right? The other thing is I will be sending out to all of you how to ask for recommendations. You've worked now for your supervisors, right? So you should be able to very easily almost like a formatted letter or email, ask them to do a recommendation and get it onto your profile. That's important as well. As you start slowly, you'll start just like with when you were networking in person, you'll start to build confidence, you'll start to engage, and you'll start to feel more comfortable in that space. I know it can be overwhelming. It overwhelms me, and I've been doing it for more years than you have. So just start off slowly, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to Andrew, myself, reach out to Anthony, and I will tell you, as I said, reach out to your career centers. There's so many new tools that are out there now to make sure that you're using the platform to its full potential, and things change constantly. So as Anthony said too, follow the people or the companies that you're interested in, and just use it as like a source too to gather information.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anthony. A lot there. First thing, everybody go connect with Anthony. That's absolutely critical. If you're not connected with Andrew and I, now's the time to do that. And connect with your supervisors. And please make sure as I think all the thumbs were up for having your internship experience on your LinkedIn profiles, right? So do that and get busy and work in that space and take advantage of it. So thank you, Anthony, very much for your time, and thank you to all the interns. And we will see you again soon.
All right. Good luck, everyone. Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony. That was great.
Take care.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.